friends, it's Asha. Welcome back to my channel. So guys, before we get into this video, I wanted to talk about today's sponsor, which is an amazing online learning platform called Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community where millions of people come together to take their next step in their creative journey. It has thousands of inspiring classes for anything that you want to take, anything for us creative and curious people, and it has classes on topics such as photography, design, illustration, video, freelancing, and so much more. I want to kind of learn something all the time, so Skillshare is perfect for doing that if you want to be a lifelong learner. And the best thing about it is that it's not even just for pros, it's for beginners, pros, people who just like to dabble in and dabble out of things, and also masters. The class that I am currently taking on Skillshare is Creative Personal Writing. The teacher of the class's name is Ashley C. Ford. She is super cool from the videos that I've watched, and kind of something that I've taken away from the class is how you can write from memory in so many different ways besides just an essay. It's curated specially for learning, which means that there is no ads, and they're always launching new premium classes so you can stay focused and also lead your creativity to wherever it takes you. Every single one of us is born to create, whether the last time you picked up a paintbrush was in kindergarten or yesterday. Skillshare believes that a strong community is essential for personal growth. The first 1,000 of you guys who click the link in the description box below will get a whole entire 1 month free trial of Skillshare, so you can start exploring your creativity today. So for today's video, as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be sharing with you some books that will make you cry, sob, hurt your heart, do any of those things, to say the very least. They will make you think about things for days after you read the book, and you kind of just have to literally let these books dissolve into your body before you can truly understand and feel what it feels like to read the book. But they're really good. So I'm going to recommend them all to you for you guys to read, add them to your Goodreads list, whatnot, whatever you want to do. And also, I have a book club on Goodreads. It's called Asha's Book Club, and it's starting back up soon. We read 1 book a month, and we Zoom at the end of the month to talk about it. But yeah, it's super easy. Read at your own pace since you have a whole entire month to read the book. But I'm so excited to get into it, so let's get into the actual book. So the first book that we are going to be talking about is The Perks of Being a Wallflower. This is also a movie. I watched the movie before I read the book, but honestly, it just made reading the book better for me, because when you watch the movie, I feel like there's so much that you don't get that the book tells you, so you just like learn way more about it. So basically this book is about Charlie. He's a boy who's kind of going into high school. He starts off as a freshman and he meets some friends. He doesn't really have any friends at all at the beginning because he's kind of shy, antisocial, and something happened to him that he just has all these kind of mental health issues, so it's hard for him to like make friends and not be anxious all the time. So he finally makes some friends, and it's just a book of all of his first love, first kiss, all of these things, and then you kind of find out at the end of the book what happened to him, as well as he finds it out too. He's kind of like running away from these problems and having all these issues, and you kind of don't know what's going on with him, and he doesn't know either until the end. And it's very sad, and it's actually just, I think it's a great book to spread awareness for many things like mental health issues and other things that happens in the book. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, by the way. No spoilers in this video, so I didn't want to spoil that just in case, you know, you guys are planning to read it. But it's really good, and yeah, if you read it, I watched the movie like before I read it, as I said, but I mean, if you already watched the movie, that's fine. Read the book afterwards and it gives you way more insight. Or you can do it the other way, but then I feel like it would make the movie a lot less exciting, and the movie is great nonetheless. So this is a really great book, and it touches on so many things. I feel like this has age levels for so many people to read. Like, I think everyone should read this book once. Like, this should be required to read in schools is what I think. It's really good, so I would totally recommend this one. It will make you upset, but the sad part about it is that this happens to real people, so, you know, maybe you could relate to it or something like that. But I definitely recommend this one, The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stefan Chbosky. I don't know how to say his last name, but that's this book. So the next book, if you're on Book Talk or BookTube, you've probably heard about this book. It's Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover, who is a very, very good author. She has so many great books that are really good. There's another one by her that is called It Ends With Us. That one is very, very popular as well. Haven't read that yet, but I have read this one and it was so, so good. I just read this and it took me like 2 days, but you know, I only read at like nighttime or in the morning, so I wouldn't read the whole entire day. So just so you know, it's very easy to read, very, very fast paced, and there's always stuff going on. So basically this book is about a girl named Tate and a boy named Miles, and I wouldn't even say it's like friends to lovers or enemies to lovers or anything like that, because it's honestly not, because it moves very quickly. But anyways, Tate is moving because she's going to college, and well, she's still in college, but she got a new job, so she moved into her brother's apartment, and across the hallway lives her brother's friend, a boy named Miles. But she really likes Miles, and Miles obviously likes her back, but they can't be together because Miles doesn't believe that he can ever love again, because he went through some ugly love in the past. And obviously I'm not going to tell you exactly what happens, but they talk about it. You finally realize what happened to Miles. It goes like switches back every chapter and tells you kind of a little bit of Miles' story, and then back to the present where it's him, like what's going on between him and Tate, because they try to do, you know, friends with benefits, which obviously didn't work out because they developed feelings for each other. But Miles doesn't know if he'll ever be able to, you know, love because of what happened to him, which you figure out what happened to him. It's all very, very sad. So this book honestly rips you apart and puts you back together again. It will rip your heart apart and put it back together again. And that's all that matters, is that it puts your heart back together again at the end. So I totally recommend this book. If that didn't sound interesting enough to you, then I don't really know what kind of books you like, but it's also very steamy romance there. That might make you want to read it a little bit more, but yeah. It's very, very steamy. I honestly did not expect this because I've never read one of the books by this author, but wow, it was so good, and I totally recommend this for anyone who likes a steamy romance and something that'll make you feel. This made my heart hurt, and I had to process it for days after I read it before I could fully feel all the feelings that I need to feel for this book. So totally recommend that one, Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. The next book I'm talking about is probably another book that you have heard something about at least. This is The Song of Achilles, which is so, so good. It is more, I guess you could say, fantasy, because it's kind of Greek mythology, which honestly, I didn't even know that before I read it, and I'm really I wasn't into that too much before I read this, but I still really love this book, and I think anyone should give it a try. Even if you're not, you know, a huge fan of that type of thing, you will love it by the end of this book because it's so, so good. Again, this is another one of the books that I read super, super fast. So The Song of Achilles is about a boy named Patroclus and another boy named Achilles, who is a prince. They were both started off as princes, but something happened to Patroclus where he kind of had to go away to this island and work at the palace that Achilles lives at and kind of be a servant because of what he did, which I'm not going to spoil because it says it all in the book. But him and Achilles develop a really good relationship and they become lovers, which is not a spoiler because if you read any part of this book or you know anything about this, everyone knows that Achilles had a lover named Patroclus. And yeah, it's very, very beautifully written, every single part of it. But Achilles is the prince. Well, he's Prince Achilles, and he's also the son of Thetis, who is a goddess. So he is kind of immortal as well. He's like half and half, and he is destined to be the best fighter. So obviously he had to fight, and it becomes a whole entire love story as they're trying to go through all these things together, and they grow up together. And obviously during this time it was not okay to have same-sex love. It was not really okay for a man to love another man, so they had to always keep it on the down low and kind of realize what was happening, and they didn't really know because, you know, it was so normal for a boy to pick his wife and then it would just be like that forever. So yeah, it's a very good book. There's so much that happens in it that you do not expect. It like twists and turns every single moment, and the ending is very sad. That made me cry, made me shed a few tears, and it is another book that I had to process. But it's a very amazing book, and I recommend that anyone reads it. And this author, Madeline Miller, she is just such a great author. Every single word in this book is just written to literal perfection. Like, there's just nothing about it that is not good. Every single part of it's good. So I would totally recommend this one as a book that will make you cry. For sure, I think it'll make you cry. So the next book that I'm gonna talk about is Looking for Alaska. I feel like this one is not talked about that much, and I feel like a lot of people don't even read this, but it's by John Green. So it's a very good written book because John Green is a very good author. So basically it's about this boy named Miles Halter, and he goes off to this summer camp, or no, is it I think it's boarding school, not summer camp. But he goes off to this boarding school and makes a friend with this girl named Alaska and another friend, and they all become really good friends, but he kind of starts falling in love with Alaska, but he knows that she has a boyfriend, but you can obviously tell in the story that she loves him back. It's just this whole entire thing happens, but it's such a good read because everything that happens is interesting leading up to the part that is crazy and, you know, makes you cry. But it's so unexpected what happens. Like, you just do not, it's just so hard to grasp. You just don't realize, like, what is even going on. And this is also a show on Hulu. I thought it said it on here. I think there was a sticker that used to say that. But yeah, it's a Hulu original show, which I watched with Chase and we loved it. So I watched that after I read this, and obviously it makes it a little hard to watch it because it's like, this is not what the book said. I mean, it was very similar, but some of it was just not there, and it should have been. But yeah, it's a really, really good book. It's not too big either. I think it's only like around 220 pages. But yeah, it's very, very beautifully written. And the ending of it made me cry like multiple times because even after the big thing happens, there's more that happens after that that's just kind of heart-wrenching and sad, and it's just crazy. Like, it's just so unexpected, and that's all I can say without spoiling anything. So this is Looking for Alaska by John Green, and this is the next book that is going to make you cry, so you should read it. And it's really not long, super easy read. Okay, so the last book that I'm going to be talking about, which is probably one of my favorite books, this was the first book that has ever made me cry, is Eleanor Park. And so this is a young adult book, and I think Looking for Alaska is too, but these young adult books still have some steaminess in them. It's not like a ton, but it is some. They're all romance too, like they have romances in them. But yeah, so this is Eleanor Park, which you can kind of tell it's a romance because it's literally a boy and a girl. So basically Eleanor, she is poor, she is going through so many family issues and just so many things, and then she meets this boy named Park on the bus going to school because she's going to like a new school and meeting new people, but she struggles with getting bullied because people are bullying her because of her weight, her hair, the fact that she doesn't have the nicest, newest clothes, and she's just getting bullied for unnecessary things. But she meets Park, and Park is kind of thinking the same things that the other people are thinking, but he also kind of still tries to give her a chance, I guess, which, I mean, he should anyways, but, you know, he does. And then she kind of meets his family, and they just go through this whole entire very beautiful love story together. It makes you so excited to turn the next page and hear about more of their romance and the things that they do, and like, you know, sneaking around, getting in trouble, that type of thing. There's a big part in the book that things just kind of turn around for the both of them because of some family issues that she's having, and I'm obviously not going to say it exactly because no spoilers, but it's something very big and crazy that happens that literally would just break your heart because Park is just so in love with her at this point, and it's so sad, and I just will forever love this book, and I feel like I'll reread it at some point, but I just want everyone to read this book. This book is not talked about enough. Like, I will see videos of people making this, the whole sobbing video, like books that'll make you cry, and this book is never talked about, and I'm like, why? I know it's a young adult book and stuff, but it is so good, and it's just written so good, and there's still so much more kind of more adult things that is in it, and it's just so sad. Like, this part of it just absolutely broke my heart when I read it. I was crying so much, and I couldn't read another book for like 2 weeks because I'm like, how am I even gonna put myself back together after reading this book? It was just amazing. So this book, Eleanor Park, please read it and let me know what you think about it because it is amazing. Okay, so those are all the books that I'm going to talk about, and that's going to be it for this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, still give it a thumbs up. Subscribe down below, and make sure you check out Skillshare in the link in the description box below.